Today in this video, I want to discuss with you about surrenderance and how it can be a great path, a great practice to self-realization. So when it comes to the general notion of surrenderance, we have this idea of a devotee being devoted towards a being whether it's a guru or a deity or a god. So this is the general notion of surrenderance that is there in our ethos. And I'm sure not everyone is comfortable, or not everyone is equipped, or not everyone is conditioned towards this practice. However, it need not to be a person or any other being. One can practice surrenderance towards life itself, towards the flow of life itself, towards the happening of life itself. If one is not conditioned enough, or one doesn't have the right conditions in their mind to practice it towards a deity or a guru, which is all the same at the end, because the fact is we have to practice surrenderance. So within this general notion of surrenderance, there is an ultimate form of it. It can start from a state of reverence, respect, admiration, and move towards a very cosmic space where the devotee perceives life itself as an emanation of that focus, that being, towards which it has devotion. And that this devotion introduces within him the thought or an idea that the whole happening of life is happening with the permission of this almighty being. And since you are devoted to this almighty being, why would you question, why would you go against the unraveling of that being? Right? You see the paradox there. You are not completely devoted. So the point is to bring yourself to the point, to a point where you are in touch with reality itself and you surrender to the reality itself. And this is an ultimate practice. This is a very great technique. This is a very great path, because this will nullify your mind with the sense of ego. This could break your ego. To understand this, we must examine our day-to-day existence and what occupies our mind. What kind of egoic thought occupies our mind? Most of our thoughts are regarding control. We want to control ourselves, we want to control our actions, we want to control the outcomes of all these actions. What if we introduce the equation of surrenderance? I don't want to control. I don't want to control myself. I don't want to control my actions. I don't want to control what is happening around me. Or we can start it away. From the outside. I don't want to control what is happening around me. I don't want to control my actions. I don't want to control myself. I'll be surrendered towards whatever that is coming through me, that is happening around me. That will be done by me. If I'm supposed to do a certain thing, it is somehow asked of me from the surrounding, I'll be surrendered and devoted to that action, and I'll do that without any resistance towards it. I hope you are able to see and feel the flow of life that would happen if we practice surrenderance. If we are so much engrossed in acceptance of reality that we are not resisting it. We need to find the point of resistance. point of resistance is causing all disharmonious engagements and disharmonious feelings, thoughts. So what happens when we practice surrenderance towards life is the ego, the point of resistance itself, starts to get weakened. How? Because we won't entertain the egoic thought of getting things in control out of fear, out of greed, or out of any personal necessities that we justify ourselves to be true. And this is not something you would do from your mind, right? First, the only thing the mind has to understand and be focused towards is that it wants to evolve as a being. It wants to be free of the suffering that it is creating somehow. It is justified into creating. And to do that, one has to come back to the center of heart, the center of feeling, the center of devotion. So when one has surrenderance, one will be blessed with so much grace to face life and anything life throws at you. Anything life throws at you, you'll be able to face it with grace. Because there won't be any rejection, there won't be any resistance. And there is intelligence in this grace. This is not naive, this is not feeble, this is great, courageous, this is a brave thing to do, and this is really intelligent, that you don't need to worry how you will face the tribulations of life. You don't need to worry about all these things. It is mere that you are not doing it from a space of thoughts, space of thinking, concepts and all these things. You are just doing it from a very different space of intelligence. So we are not comfortable as human beings, to be in that space and doing things done, getting things done. And to my understanding, to my experience, it is much superior space. It is a space of much superior intelligence. Because we have come to a conclusion that only thinking is intelligent. You look at the universe, you look at the world around you, you think to yourself whether, just a thought to entertain, whether all this, the whole of life, is an outcome of mere thinking, or there is much more greater intelligence, much more intricate intelligence at play. And by dropping our egoic state, by dropping in our default framework, we open ourselves to this intelligence. And it will bless us with grace. It will bless us with peace and joy and great contentment. But the way to reach this, the way to inhabit this space, the way to embody this, is through surrenderance. There might be any other way. I'm not saying there might not be, but for me, what I have understood, surrenderance is a great and is a quick practice that one can start this very moment. So the hindrances when you practice surrenderance is because you will come across certain desires, certain attachments that the mind or you or the ego self has held on to throughout its life. And it's so close that you won't be able to make compromises around it. Because the whole identity is based out of it. It could be anything, your relationships, your job, the place where you are, the locality, your culture, your religion, anything. It could be anything. You might While practicing surrenderance, you might come across a situation where you might have to face this attachment, and the ego will rise with all its might to enforce that thought pattern that will promise you something. Okay, if I'll think of something and I'll act certain way, only then I'll be able to manage these things. Only then I'll be able to create an outcome that is, sufferable, perhaps. Not even great, perhaps sufferable just. Don't give in to that. Again, practice silence. Whatever comes, I'll accept it. With great devotion, you need to have that center of heart activated. You need to have that sense of direction from your own heart, from your own being, so that the mind doesn't overpower you. The mind itself will accompany you in this process of surrenderance. Give it what it wants. The mind perhaps just wants peace. By practicing surrenderance, you'll feed mind peace every second of your life. Why would it deviate from peace? If it wants love, feel love. Feel the love and grace of existence when you are in a surrendered space. When you're not fighting against life. When you're not trying to control the outcomes of life. Give it joy, bliss. When you feel like you are life itself, dancing, flowing, creating each and every moment everywhere. And the joy of all the actions that is happening everywhere. Let it all comprise, feel it within you. When the mind tastes such joy, peace, that is so beyond and larger than life, believe me, it'll help you. It'll be much more focused towards this path of surrenderance. It'll readjust itself whenever it'll deviate and go into an egoic way of dealing with life. Surrenderance is an ultimate technique. Surrenderance is an ultimate technique towards self-realization. And the reason is very simple. Because there is nothing else to surrender other than the false notion of self. When you surrender the false notion of self, the ego, reality will manifest itself, because it is already there. It will just reveal itself. Thank you.